Hello and welcome to 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Glad you could join us. Adam Pellerin, joined by Lenny DiNardo, who is in Arizona gearing up for the three-game set against the Diamondbacks, part of a six-game trip out west, which includes a date with the Athletics as well. Lenny, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay. It's early. I got up at 6 a.m. for you today, and I'm still nursing a steak. I had a huge bone-in ribeye with the crew last night. I feel like I ate a football, and it's just kind of sitting there. But I'm here. Good morning. It's nice to see you.
Speaking of football last night, I know the boys were out to dinner watching the Cowboys and Eagles game, and I was thinking, it had a little baseball flavor because we actually had a weather delay last night, and the national crew had to fill, and I was like, hey, man, baseball studio folks watching football folks trying to fill during a rain delay. Welcome to our world. They're not used to doing that.
No, not at all. And you actually had the pleasure of filling during a hockey game,
Oh,
I
gosh,
believe.
stuff's falling apart.
Uh-oh. This is
I got
live
so
TV,
fired up that
people.
the big Poppy fell. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry
Poppy's
about
falling
that.
over. But you had to fill a hockey game, which does not happen.
Yeah, I did back in the day. It was frozen Fenway. We had Hockey East games, and then the rain started to fall and got to the point where they couldn't play. So we had to fill. So I've done rain delay for baseball quite a few times, and I did rain delay for hockey. But I've never seen, I have seen delays for football in the past, but that's opening kickoff. It's the first game of the year. So right out of the gate.
This doesn't happen. I remember footage from like the 70s and 80s of just Green Bay, sideways snow. You can't even see the field. Everybody's out there and they're getting it done. So yeah, that doesn't happen. Very surprising that they had a
Yeah, it's
delay.
only lightning, and
Weather.
that's what it was last night. They had to
Yeah,
deal with some lightning in
exactly.
Philly. So, but anyway, let's transition back to baseball. We got a lot to talk about. We'll look ahead to the six-game trip, date against the Diamondbacks to kick things off. We'll talk about the Roman Anthony injury. Obviously, devastating news for Anthony and the Red Sox. We'll get into Payton Tolle. His second major league start will be tonight against the Diamondbacks. There was the report from Jeff Passan regarding Alex Bregman, and looks like he's going to opt out and choose free agency. And so what does that mean for his future in Boston? And then a reported move to the IL for Jordan Hicks. And so we'll get into all those things. So let's start with Roman Anthony. Devastating news, the strained oblique, and Red Sox made it official on September 3rd, which was Wednesday. And so they called up Nick Sogard, and Sogard played in the finale against the Guardians. And it wasn't a great start to the post-Anthony, not era, but just time span of not having him in the lineup. Red Sox lose that game. They fall behind early in a bullpen game. But Lenny, this is a guy, obviously, we've been talking so much about how much he's done at such a young age, how impressive he is at a young age. He's been leading off for the Red Sox and producing big time in that position. What does this mean for the Red Sox lineup moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a gut punch. This kid, what he's brought to the Red Sox offensively, and we don't talk about his defense, but he's been a really good outfielder as well. When he came up in June, the Red Sox were below 500 by, I think, 4 games. And then after that, they absolutely went off. They started winning games, playing better baseball. You can see the approach change as well. When you talk about Roman Anthony, you talk about his eye. He's very selective. He does not chase outside the strike zone. And, I call it the Schwarber effect because when the Red Sox got Schwarber a few years ago, he had a great eye. He didn't chase either. And I started to see guys up and down the lineup kind of take that same approach. Not chasing. And when you don't chase and you get a good pitch to hit eventually in these counts, because pitchers don't want to walk you, that's when you go out and do your damage. And when a Red Sox club, and any club really, when they're scuffling at the plate, oftentimes because pitchers are making pitches off the plate, you're swinging at it, and you're not able to do damage from there. So it's all about getting a good pitch to hit, and that's what he continues to do in a Red Sox uniform. And it also, I feel like when you're a young player as well, these days you're allowed to go out and be yourself. And the veterans kind of embrace that. They allow them to go out and breathe And when you can do that as a young player, you can go out and perform. And 20 years ago or so, it wasn't like that. You're kind of stepping on eggshells whenever you get into the clubhouse. And it's very difficult, this game, especially when you can't be yourself. So you see a lot of these youngsters embracing their personalities, being able to go out there and kind of do their thing. And I love it. It's a great time to play this game. And they're definitely missing him. But at the same time, I don't feel like this club should or is going to go down the tubes because Roman Anthony is on the IL. I feel like they've been resilient this whole season. Guys have gone down with injury. Bregman, for example, Rafael Devers got dealt. These are big blows to the Red Sox, and they continue to go out there and push and win games and have that mentality with next man up.
No question it hurts. But you're right. They've been resilient all season long. Even after Anthony went down in game 2 of the series against the Guardians, right? What do? They were up 5-1. They go down 7-5. They come back and tie it, and then they go on to win, right? So they showed resiliency right out of the gate when Anthony got hurt. Now, I did mention they lost the finale, but I think what's been so impressive about Roman Anthony, among so many things, is the fact that this is not a 21-year-old who's gotten called up and is playing meaningless baseball and is batting 8-9 in the batting order. This is a guy that's playing meaningful baseball, helping them win games, and is their leadoff hitter. And before that, he was hitting 2-hole, 3-hole. Like, it's so rare to see a young player hit that high in the order and have that much success. And it's not a situation where he's just gone on a hot streak. It's just been consistent, right? He may go 0 for 4, with a couple of strikeouts, but he'll put together good at bats every game. It might not be every single at bat where he's going deep, deep in the counts, but it's more often than not. And I think that's what Alex Cora has said time and time again, that he dominates the strike zone. And we've seen that with the numbers. And, I talk about the leadoff position so much, and just looking at the numbers as a leadoff hitter. He first got into that role, Lenny, back on July 27th. He's been leadoff hitter since then for all but maybe, a handful of games. In the leadoff spot, hitting .336, .439 on base percentage, .564 slugging percentage. And that's over a span of 31 games, 6 homers, 5 doubles, and a triple. And even, over the last, 21 games, he's had 6 home runs, right? Because that was the one thing that we were sort of waiting to see what happened, right? He's making contact, having good at bats, but, who's he going to get the ball in the air and start to show some power? Well, he started to do that as well. So, he really was starting to he put everything together. Then the injury happens, and that's why it sucks so much,
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of a unicorn, right? These guys come up
Yeah.
at 20, 21 years old, and you expect them to have a little success. They've gotten to call to the big leagues. There's a reason for that. And then they start to get exposed a little bit. These big league pitchers, they start to say, okay, where's his weakness? Once they find it, then they go out and just pepper that spot in the zone. But I've noticed Roman Anthony make in-bat adjustments, in-game adjustments.
Yeah.
I think it was Minnesota. He was facing a tough lefty, and it was slider, swung through both of them, and then stepped out, took a deep breath, went back to the slider, and was able to hit the ball square on the barrel of the bat. And, things like that for a young player at the big league level are very, very rare for them to go out there and make those adjustments. So, again, it starts with the slow heartbeat. It starts with him having confidence in himself and realizing that he believes and the talent's there. And for Alex Cora to have the confidence to put him in that role, for him to go out and excel in that role, just speaks volume to the type of player he is. And you listen to his post-game interviews too. He's beyond his years. He's not your typical 21-year-old. He gets it, right? And he's a generational player. We've seen these guys before. Nomar was one, came up. Devers was another when he came up. Xander. These are guys that they come up and they just belong automatically. And you see other players too on the other side of the coin where, this is a good player. They come up and then they start to get exposed a little bit. I think Christian Campbell is a good example of that. He was outstanding his first month. He's a player of the month his first month. And then he kind of got exposed. The pitchers, started to realize that he had a little bit of a hole in his swing inside, up and in. And that's when they started peppering that part, and he started to scuffle a little bit. But it's all about making those adjustments in game, in season, and Roman so far has he's met every challenge and exceeded expectations.
That's why he's such a unicorn. It's a great word to describe him, because you're supposed to struggle when you're a young player coming up, getting your first taste of the big leagues. And what Christian Campbell did in the first month plus of the season, I mean, he was rookie of the month in the American League in April, was pretty incredible. But eventually the game caught up to him. Pitchers make adjustments, and that's what you saw. Unfortunately for him, it ended up inevitably going back down to AAA. We saw it with Marcelo Meyer, right? I mean, again, like a young player experiencing the big leagues for the first time. I mean, this was a high draft, fourth overall, right? A few years back, and he comes up and he struggles. And that's why it's so unusual to see Roman Anthony do what he does, to be able to do what he does, and with such consistency. And I was just looking back through Red Sox history, within the last 50 plus years, it's like, all right, well, you look at Tony C, right? Tony C at 19 years old, getting the call up. I mean, you look at the numbers and they're pretty comparable. Tony C with more power, but Roman Anthony better on base percentage. What our own Jim Rice did, as a 22-year-old coming up, hitting 22 bombs. Fred Lynn, as a 23-year-old, and even going to the Ellis Burks. I mean, he was 22 years old, had 20 home runs, 20 plus steals. Mike Greenwell at 23 years old. There have been guys who have come up, and I was just looking at outfielders, for the most part, that have come up and have made an impact. But what Roman Anthony has done, the combination of, commanding the strike zone, we're starting to see the power numbers, and the hard hit percentage too, right? I mean, you look at the rookies, right? And Nick Kurtz is going to win Rookie of the Year in the American League. But he and Anthony are 1 and 2 in a number of different categories. But Anthony, has the higher on base percentage and the higher hard hit percentage, right? Which is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we noticed when Anthony came up is, okay, he's hitting a lot of ground balls. He's getting base hits, but these ground balls are smoked. He's hitting a lot
Yeah.
of hard hit ground balls. And some people were out there saying, well, where's the power? The Red Sox should tinker with the swing a little bit, try to get the ball in the air. No, 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 no. You let this approach go out there and work, and eventually you start to see the power numbers. And we're seeing that now. You start tinkering with a guy's swing that's continually hitting 100-mile-an-hour off the bat. What you're going to start to see is more 70-mile-an-hour off the bat pop up to shortstop. You don't want that. Let him do his thing. Let him get his pitches. And eventually, like we're seeing now, the ball is going to start leaving the ballpark.
So in terms of the leadoff position, because I think I started, how the Red Sox fill this void, right? Well, you can't replace that kind of production and what Anthony brings to the table. But, in the meantime, we saw Nate Eaton in the leadoff position against the lefty. Got a lefty going in Eduardo Rodriguez tonight, old friend. Is that what the Red Sox are probably going to do at this point, right? You get a right-hander lead off, maybe a Nate Eaton against left-handed hitters, and then, against right-handed pitchers. Do you go back to Jarren Duran in the leadoff spot?
Yeah, it's, Alex Cora is going to mix and match, basically. That's what he does. He's putting people in different pockets to go out there and succeed. And listen, I like Nate Eaton. He's not Roman Anthony, but I feel like he puts together good at-bats. He's got that clutch gene. He reminds me kind of like Duran and Tyler O'Neill, to be honest. This guy's an athlete. He's got speed. I love the fact that the other day that he kind of got work inside and hit a ball the other way off the hands. But you know what? He put the ball in play. He put together a good at bat. When you do that, good things happen. And the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to get at there as well. And mix and match against lefties and righties. And Duran going, I feel like he's starting to heat up as well. He's had a good year. And recently I've seen him use the opposite field, hit the ball towards the monster more consistently. And that's a sign that he's going to start to get even more hot and start driving the ball even more. And, these are fill-in guys. Roman Anthony's going to be your guy at that spot when he comes back, hopefully 4 weeks or so from now, hopefully not longer than that. He's a young player. Hopefully he's healing sooner than a guy like you or I would. Club 46 here coming up. But yeah, they're doing everything they can to get the guy back on the field soon.
Yeah, and Alex Cora told him, to get his spirits up, right? Envision game 1 of the ALCS, and hopefully he's back sooner than that. but hopefully the Red Sox advance to the ALCS as well. But first things first, they got to get in the playoffs. They got to win games, and starts tonight against Arizona, game 1 of the series. And coming up, we will talk about tonight's starter, rookie Payton Tolle, who was outstanding in his first major league start last Friday against the Pirates. We'll talk about that next on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
Welcome back to 310 to Left. Last Friday night, Payton Tolle making his major league debut at Fenway Park, and man, he was bringing the heat. You look at the final line: 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, couple of walks. Wildly successful debut for Payton Tolle, who I enjoy. Man, I got stuff falling all over the place. It happened in segment 1. I got another book falling in segment 2.
It's a sign of good things to come.
Well, yeah, I start talking about Roman Anthony, the David Ortiz picture that I have right here falls, right? And now I got this book, this old Sports Illustrated, like best of. It's actually Michael Jordan on the cover, so that falls. Anyway, let's continue. Payton Tolle, do you got anything in the background?
I don't have a background today. I'm in Arizona with the club right now, so my background is if a maid walks in, then that'll be good TV though, right?
Yeah, right. Did you put the DND on the door?
I did.
Okay,
I made sure I did that. Veteran move.
All right, excellent. All right, Lenny, what do you think of Payton Tolle's debut last Friday?
Oh, he was outstanding. As advertised, he went out there and just dominated in the strike zone. There's a ton of swing and miss in and outside the zone. I felt like he made good adjustments. At time, he started to spray the ball a little bit, arm side and glove side down. And I literally saw him in real time take a deep breath off the back of the rubber and dial it back in. And the moment wasn't too big for him, which is nice to see for a young pitcher who's an A ball at the start of the season. You just don't see guys go out and dominate the minor leagues and come up to big leagues and continue that domination.
Yeah, that's
Fastball that
wild.
plays.
That's wild,
Yeah.
man. Like to say, seriously, like you start the year in Greenville, your first professional season. You get promoted to Portland, then you get promoted to AAA Worcester, and you're thinking like, man, what a meteoric rise, right? I mean, to go from A ball to AAA in one season in your first pro season, that's super impressive. And then you get the call to the big leagues and do what you do. I mean, that's crazy. That never happens.
No. And we saw what, 98, 99, struck out the first batter of the game. The crowd erupted at Fenway Park. Everybody was just like, yep, this is our guy. And just a spectacular debut. And I love the
And
strut
you're going up
after the
against
strikeout.
Skeens. You're going up against
Yes, went
Skeens
up.
too.
Yes, went up against arguably the best pitcher in the game, toe to toe with him, and did an outstanding job. That's like for me, if I had to face a guy like Roy Halladay back in the day, right? Like that's daunting going out there saying, this is the guy that I'm facing. Didn't face Tolle at all. Did not face him at all. He went out there and did his thing. And, 98, 99, he's got the little cutter. He's got the little sweeper off of that. And the mix is very similar to another guy in the Red Sox rotation, Garrett Crochet. So how cool is it to have two guys, two lefties, one young, one, not necessarily young, but not necessarily old either, but at the height of his career, right? To have a template like that for Tolle to look up to him and follow him around and say, okay, this is how you go about being a big leaguer. It's very important for a young player.
Very heavy fastball usage. That's clearly his best pitch. 60% usage. He had 14 whiffs overall. It was basically fastball cutter, a little bit of the change I think we did see too, and then he had a couple of pitches, that were, I think he had one slider, one curveball, one,
Yeah.
But overall, like it's fastball cutter, maybe mixing a little bit of change.
Yeah, and the changeup's a kick change, relatively new grip. The curveball is kind of a new pitch as well. The cutter's not old. I mean, all these pitches are
Yeah.
kind of just learned relatively recently. He's had a good fastball this whole time. But learning
Yeah.
on the fly at the big league level and being able to use his stuff to get big league hitters out consistently that debut. I mean, I'm looking forward to tonight. I mean, honestly, it's going to be fun to watch The mustache is strong. Keep an eye out at the game for Lou Merlone. There's talk. There's
Yeah.
talk that he has a beard now. There's talk if Payton Tolle is dealing, he might be shaving a mustache in mid-game. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm breaking news right now, but we'll see if in
Wow.
fact he goes out there and does that and has a mustache by the end of game.
Well, Lou has been known to make in-game adjustments himself, right? Whether it's, standing up, taking off a long sleeve, putting on a long sleeve, just to sort of mix things up. But if something's working, and he's feeling the stash, I fully support it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was talking to him last night. He's like, "You gonna show up with a mustache?" I mean, and he's like, "Listen, I might do it mid game. If he's dealing, I might shave a
Yeah.
mustache. Like, oh, strike three, and you hear that, zzzz, right? Yeah,
That's awesome.
just
I hope
mid
we
game
see that.
shave. It's never been done. Never been done.
The other thing about Peyton Tolle, aside from the stuff, which is really like the fastball is just, it's just overpowering. It's great. It's just personality, man. Like, and
Oh
watching
yeah.
him in that start against the Pirates, he was having the time of his life. He was enjoying every moment of it, and I really appreciated that. And when he got pulled, I think he had, kind of thanked the guys, the infielders who were there. Like you saw, like a couple of laughs on the, on the mound when Alex Cora was taking the ball from him. What a great guy to have in the clubhouse too. I mean, that's a cool part of it as well, right? Just how comfortable he is, how much he's loving it, because we talked earlier about rookies getting called up, like talking about what Roman Anthony's done and how professional he is. And, you're starting to see a little bit of his personality. You're starting to see a little bit of personality from the other young guys that got called up as well. But Peyton Tolle, man, didn't take him he didn't need any time to show off his personality.
Yeah, what did he say when he left? I think he looked at his infield and said, "You guys are pretty cool." I think that's the words that he used. Something to
Yeah,
that
that's
effect.
the
You
one.
guys are pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what's not to like about this kid? He left the field. He waved to his dad in the stands. He pointed
Yep.
to the sky. His mom is no longer with us, so he gave a gesture to the skies.
Yeah.
Just had a smile on his face the whole time. And leading up to this, you could hear him say prior, he's like, "Listen, I just wanted to get on the mound and make those throws because this is nerve wracking, right? You're making your debut. This guy was an A ball
Yeah.
earlier this year, like we mentioned. He just needed to go out there and throw the ball, make it official, and then he can go out there and breathe and get it done. But you're right. Rookies come up these days. They're able to be themselves. Nobody's coming down on him for smiling on the field and having a good time. They're embracing it. They love it. He's able to go out there and be himself. And that just speaks volumes about what kind of player he can be when he's allowed to do that.
Let the kids play. Let the kids have fun too. And Peyton
So,
Tolle's definitely having fun. What kind of adjustment, will it be for him? Not an adjustment necessarily, but his first start was on a Friday night at Fenway. The crowd's buzzing. His parents are in the stands. He's going up against Paul Skeens. Now you're away from Fenway. You're in enemy territory. You don't have, the crowd backing you. It's a much different environment. How much of adjustment is that for a young pitcher?
listen, we said he was an A ball this year. When you're an A ball, you're pitching in front of hot dog vendors and girlfriends. You have to manufacture energy, all the energy you can. And so this is kind of something. This is in his wheelhouse. He's able to go out there and do that. And he's got that football mentality. I've heard in interviews him saying that he wants to be the hammer, not the nail, kind of a football. Adam, you're a football guy. That makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Going out there and
Yeah.
just and manufacturing that energy and always keeping that up no matter where you are. This isn't Fenway Park, like you said. So he's going to be able to manufacture that and go gung ho towards this lineup because he's used to it. This is a guy that came from a small town, pitched in front of nobody, and he's been able to do it throughout his whole short career. So I think it won't be a task for him to go out there and do it again.
Yeah, facing pretty good Arizona lineup, by the way, which we'll talk about coming up. Despite their record, they have some guys that can bring the power. But yeah, Peyton Tolle has been just so much fun to watch, and really, he was needed too, right? And that just, you're thinking about the rotation, how great Crochet's been, and Giolito and Bayo, and you wanted more from Walker Buehler. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You thought Tanner Houck was going to be a big part of this rotation. The injury happens, the struggles early, then the injury. Cutter Crawford never saw the mound this year. Hunter Dobbins came up and was great, and then he gets hurt. It really speaks to the depth that the Red Sox have in their organization, to be able to call up a guy from AAA, his first major league experience, to have that kind of success. Again, it's early. It's just one start. But there are a lot of encouraging signs, and it really speaks to the depth of the organization. I mean, we're even talking about Kyle Harrison potentially getting called up, but he's dealing with some ankle issues. So, that's delayed. But, and then Connolly Early's another guy that's down in AAA with Worcester. So they got guys, which is something you couldn't say in the past.
Think about the amount of depth they had earlier in this year where you go out and you trade Priester. They're like, we have so many arms. We're going to go out and Quinn Priester, we're going to deal him because we have a surplus of arms. That just doesn't happen. And then all this happens as far as injuries, which happens every year. People go down for an extended period of time. But you're right. It's the next man up mentality. And this Red Sox club is going to go as far as the starting pitchers allow them to with Crochet, Bayo, Giolito. I think the primary goal now is get to the playoffs, but right behind that is get these three significant, actually four with Tolle, get these guys their right amount of rests. So when they do get to that part of the season where they need them at their best, they're ready to go. And we saw that with Crochet, his last outing, just missing some spots command wise, gave up 4 home runs in a game. Just doesn't happen to him. But for me, that's just maybe just a little bit of fatigue. So yeah, it's going to be a priority to get these guys a little bit of extra rest, and I think they can do that with the amount of days off that they have. But you don't want to count your chickens, right? You want to go out there. You have 78 wins right now. I mean, I'd like to see them get to at least 90. If they can do that, then I think they put themselves in a really good spot. 78 wins. That was their total in 22 and 23. And they're there now with 21 games, I think, to go. They won 81 last year. Yeah, so they're better than a 500 club. So if they continue to do that, they put themselves in a good spot, and hopefully have that home field advantage at the wild card.
Yeah, and they had the off day yesterday, right? They were in a stretch of consecutive games, and so they finally get an off day, get a little bit of a breather, refocus, and get ready for the series against the Diamondbacks. Well, all eyes, of course, are on the postseason, Lenny, this Red Sox team, hoping to get there. But, also looking ahead to the offseason after a report from Jeff Passan about Alex Bregman's future. We'll talk about that next. Welcome back to 310 to Left. This is a report from Jeff Passan regarding Alex Bregman. Barring an injury or catastrophic slump, Bregman's going to opt out and join Kyle Tucker and Kyle Schwarber in a clear top tier among this winter's free agents. Bregman is bound to get 5 years, a 5-year plus deal at an average annual value of $35 million plus. So Bregman signed a 3-year, $120 million deal in the offseason with the Red Sox, but had the opt-out. Kind of knew this was a possibility. At the time, Lenny, the Bregman signing, you were happy, but you knew this could be a one and done situation. But now you're hoping it's not, based on, not only his production, but what he's meant to the Red Sox clubhouse, to the young players, being sort of an extra hitting coach at times for this team as well. Just such a valuable player on and off the field.
Yeah, and it goes down to supply and demand. You mentioned Schwarber, Tucker, and then Bregman. I mean, that's not a great free agent class, so there's not a ton out there, which means these guys are going to be out there asking top dollar. But what Bregman's brought to this lineup, you mentioned it. When you sign a guy, his swing fits Fenway Park, that pull power. The defense, there's a huge reason why this Red Sox club defensively has gotten better. Early in the season, they were scuffling a little bit, but as of late, they've been really, really good. That side of the infield in particular with Bregman and Story have been lights out. They make everybody around them better. And because of that, the pitching's been able to come around into. Those two things go hand in hand. If you struggle defensively, pitching's going to suffer. They're going to be throwing more pitches, going, 5 and dive, so to speak. You don't want to see that. And the other part of the equation is him giving tutorials to young players in the Red Sox lineup and in the clubhouse. He's been a mentor to these young players, and you have a ton of them. So what better player do you want in the clubhouse to teach these kids how to play the game the right way, how to go about your business than Alex Bregman? So, the fact that he's in a Red Sox uniform, the fact that they've played so well and they've gelled around him this season tells me that, the Red Sox are going to have a good shot. They just have to go out there and give him a firm offer. And 5-7 at 35, you've got money freed up from Rafael Devers in San Francisco now. So I don't see why they wouldn't make a full force effort to go out and lock him up.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, it would have been nice, right? Because I think we were also thinking at the time, I mean, the Red Sox, I mean, they've locked up how many young players to long-term contract extensions, right? Getting ahead of the game. I mean, this year alone, Garrett Crochet, you just had Roman Anthony. You've had
Bayo, Rafaela,
Christian Campbell, so all of those guys have been locked up to long-term deals. And you were hoping, even though he's at a different point in his career, that you would be able to get something done with Alex Bregman, but it's a much different situation because, Bregman's a known commodity, really, right? Because of what he's done in his career. And so he can easily bet on himself and not have to worry about, the ramifications of that, because he's been there, he's done that. He's a, multiple World Series champion. The other guys are younger, unproven, although great promise. And, that's quickly showing itself, with all the guys that we mentioned. But on top of everything else, Bregman's made, a good amount of money in his major league career too. So he can go out and he can bet on himself. And again, you saw the passing report, barring a catastrophic injury or a slump, he's going to cash in free agency. Now, the slump part is actually real, Lenny. That's actually happening as we speak. Unfortunately for Alex Bregman, he's in a bit of a slump. And you look at the numbers, on the homestand. I believe he was 3 for 23 on the homestand. I was trying to get the numbers up here because I jotted it down. I took notes, because I wanted to make sure that I was
always prepared.
Yeah, always prepared. But then, when you go to retrieve, there we go. He was, 2 home runs his last 32 games as well. So 4 for his last 41, 3 for 26 on the homestand. But within that, he's made some hard contact. The clutch base hit against the Guardians to help the Red Sox to a win. And as you mentioned, playing great defense over there at third base. So you're confident that he's going to start to come out of it, show some power. But he had been slumping at the plate a little bit.
Yeah, I think the numbers. You see the offer, you see the whatever, the 2 hits, 3 hits, whatever, out of however many. He has been hitting the ball, and more so now. Recently, he's been hitting the ball harder, driving the baseball. But even more so, what's telling me that he's going to come out of this relatively soon is his takes. I feel like he's not expanding quite as much. He's taking pitches outside the strike zone, and that's kind of a factor in saying, okay, he's going to start to get better pitches to swing at, and that's where the drive is going to come from. But yeah, I mean, he's betting on himself, and he should. This is no surprise that a guy like Alex Bregman should bet on himself. Everywhere he goes, he wins. He knows nothing other than getting to the playoffs and winning, and it's no different this year. We signed Alex Bregman, the Red Sox, that is, and now they're playoff bound. Right? That's not a coincidence. This is just what he brings to every organization every year that he plays baseball. So I think they need to take this seriously in regards to signing him, locking him up, and the fact that he's been in a Red Sox uniform this season and seems real comfortable here, and is the type of player that he is, factors at Fenway Park really well. Tells me that he's going to give them a good shot. You just have to go out there with your best foot forward and give him something respectable.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? And unfortunately, according to the passing report, you got the Phillies involved potentially, you got the Yankees involved potentially, and you got the Tigers involved potentially. And the Tigers were a team that came up in the offseason as like a top suitor for Alex Bregman because of the AJ Hinch connection, and because the Tigers have some young players as well on their roster. And he could provide, what he's providing for the Red Sox right now, and their young players, and being a mentor and a great clubhouse presence. And so, those 3 teams coming up. So, Yeah, you mentioned the Red Sox are going to have to put their best foot forward, but these other teams are going to do the same. So it's not going to be easy to get him under contract. And among those three teams, Lenny, the Tigers to me seem like the biggest threat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like the fact that he's been in a Red Sox uniform this season and he's worked with these young players, he's got the Alex Cora factor as well, who he's known since the Houston days. Tells me that he's going to give them a shot. His swing fits Fenway Park. That pull power, using the wall, the familiarity. And Alex is the type of guy where he likes to kind of ingrain himself into the community as well. And he's been at Fenway Park. He's been in Red Sox uniform this whole season, so he's kind of starting that as well. Now moving to another team after one season, it could be jarring, right? Yeah, they've got young players, but he's developed a relationship with the ones at Fenway Park and in a Red Sox uniform now. So I feel like the Red Sox, as long as they're competitive in their offer, they're going to have the best shot, in my opinion, to go out there and get this deal done. Yeah, the Phillies, the Tigers, they're going to be in the mix, the Yankees, like you said, but I feel like some sort of familiarity and not just a one and done year for Bregman. I don't think he's looking for that. I just feel like now that they have that freedom on money from Devers, they can go out there and get him locked up. You just have to go out and do it.
Are you a believer that how a team finishes has an impact on a free agent in terms of their decision making?
Absolutely, absolutely. If there's a sour taste in your mouth at the end of the season, right, that's definitely going to factor in. If they were to tank and not make the playoffs this year, if something catastrophic happens and they go over the next 21 and they don't make it, absolutely that will factor in, because that's not only on the field play, that's clubhouse stuff affecting that as well. And that's a big determining factor where he wants to be, how the clubhouse is, what the culture is, as well as how they're playing on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I mean, you're looking at
I
a
don't
Red
either.
Sox team it's really bound for the postseason. I mean, they've been resilient all season long. He's been a huge part of that. So get in the postseason, see what happens from there. But it's gonna be an interesting offseason. It's got no question about that. When it comes to Alex Bregman, I mean, that's the biggest. That's going to be the biggest storyline moving forward. But we got plenty of season left, right? You got plenty of season left. 21 games left on the schedule. You got the 6-game road trip, Arizona and the Athletics. As the Red Sox continue to make their push for the postseason, but they're dealing with yet another injury, which we will talk about next on 310 to Left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
Welcome back to 310 to Left. Chris Cotillo, Mass Live, tweeting this. Red Sox are placing Jordan Hicks on the IL with a shoulder injury and calling up Chris Murphy before tomorrow's game in Arizona. As according to sources, Hicks' ERA ballooned to 8.20 with last night's struggles. Of course, talking about the struggles in the finale against the Guardians, a bullpen game. Brennan Bernardino starts, Hicks comes in, and that's when, unfortunately, the wheels came off for the Red Sox. Adam and Lenny back with you on 310 to Left. So Jordan Hicks, of course, Lenny, part of the Rafael Devers trade, along with Kyle Harrison. You were expecting a power arm out of the bullpen that could get outs for you. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. He's got the power arm, but he hasn't had the command.
Yeah, and it just tells you big league hitters can hit a fastball if you throw it right down the middle. And for Jordan Hicks, it's been right down the middle or it's been outside the strike zone. And he's giving up hard contact. He's walking batters. It's frustrating for me to watch because you see a guy with just amazing stuff. 99, 100. He's got movement. He's got secondary pitches off of that fastball, but just can't get it done on the field. And it's mind-boggling. And I know it's frustrating for the Red Sox as well. He's on the hook for the next 2 years, I think $24 million, give or take. So he's just a bit of a project, you got to figure out, and Andrew Bailey and the run prevention unit have to figure out What's going on with his mentality on the mound? Is he trying to throw the ball right down the middle? Is he overthrowing? Because I'd like to see his stuff play at 96 with strikes, commanding in and out of the zone with that movement, rather than 99 100 kind of not knowing where it's going. That's where we're at. And yeah, it's strange because this is a guy that in the Giants organization, they gave him ample opportunity, starting, relieving, couldn't get it done there, and then came to the Red Sox. It's kind of been a lot of the same.
Do you think that's part of the reason why the struggle could be taking place, right? Because you mentioned it, in Toronto, right? Before he signed the deal with the Giants, he was outstanding coming out of the bullpen. Part of the postseason with the Blue Jays, and then they make him a starter in San Francisco. It doesn't work out, and then he goes back to the bullpen. How you've done that, does that sometimes mess with a guy a little bit in terms of trying to, it's like, all right, as a starter, I have a certain approach, as a reliever, you have a kind of a different approach. So is that transition back to being a relief pitcher maybe part of the reason why he's struggling?
It can be if you allow it. I mean, when it comes down to roles, you have to embrace your role. If you get sent to the bullpen and you don't embrace it, if you think you're a starting pitcher and you're down to the bullpen steaming down there because you feel like you don't belong, that can absolutely affect you. When I was with the Red Sox and Oakland, I was back and forth, bullpen starting, whatever they kind of needed. I embraced that Swiss Army knife mentality. Whatever you need today, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to give it my best shot, and I was happy to do it. If you're not happy in that role and you feel like I should be doing something else, then that will 100% affect what you're doing on the field. So you have to realize who you are, what you are, and then embrace it. Go out there and say, okay, I'm an eighth inning guy, I'm a seventh inning guy, I'm a sixth inning guy, whatever. A mop up. You got to go out there and say, I'm pumping strikes in the zone. I'm competing against big league hitters. If there's anything else in your mind at that point, it just doesn't work. You're not going to be successful, and you're seeing it right now with him.
Yeah, and again, as a starter, again, I have to look back at the numbers, but I'm sure the velo was down, right? Probably 95, 96, 97, right? Just, for sustainability, to give you length. And you're coming out of the bullpen and you're throwing a hundo, and maybe trying to overthrow, maybe trying to be a flame throwing bullpen guy, when you really should be going back to that and working on the command. And that's something you referenced earlier.
Yeah, and Chapman's a great example. All he has to do is look at Aroldis Chapman because the stuff is similar. He's got 100 miles an hour. He's got a couple breaking balls off of that. What's the difference? Strikes. Chapman's throwing 71% first pitch strikes. It's 20% more than his career numbers. He's, even if he's 3-0, we've seen it this season, he's back into counts. And he's using his slider and his split finger off the fastball effectively in counts, getting a lot of swing and miss. Because one thing about big league hitters is they can hit a fastball. If they know it's coming, if it's right down the middle, they will turn it around. But if you have something behind it, a little bit of off speed, so you're not just working up, down, in and out, you're working back in front of the zone as well, it's going to keep them off balance. And Chapman's done an outstanding job of that. So I want to say Chapman and Hicks and Bailey should sit down together and say, listen, this is why he's successful this year. This is why he's an all-star. This is why he's your go-to guy. The stuff isn't dissimilar. You both throw 100 miles an hour. You both have secondary pitches. The biggest difference is one of you commands inside and outside the strike zone, gets ahead, stays ahead, and then puts them away. You have that closer mentality. And one of you is just kind of out there throwing versus pitching. That's the difference. One's a pitcher and one's a thrower. You got to figure out how to become a pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, their bullpen, I like the makeup of it, right? Obviously, with Chapman closing games, you got Whitlock as a setup guy. Those guys have been lights out. Add Justin Wilson, Steven Matz, who's been very good, and Justin Slayton coming back from injury. You got a formidable bullpen, and if you're able to harness, the stuff that Jordan Hicks has as another weapon out there, I mean, that would go a long way. But we'll see what happens with the reported shoulder injury and Chris Murphy getting called back up. All right, quickly, let's look ahead. We got the D-backs for 3, and then the Athletics for 3 after that 6-game road trip. You look at the record, Lenny, of both teams, and you're thinking, okay, this should be, 2 series wins right here at the minimum. But They've been playing well. Each of these teams have been playing well. And you start with the Diamondbacks and just looking at it, this is a team that unloaded their whole roster, it seemed, right? For the most part, a lot of guys anyway, and a lot of injuries too. Corbin Burns with the Tommy John. You have AJ Puck, who's a power arm lefty out of the bullpen. Justin Martinez, Tommy John. And then they traded Eugenio Suarez. They traded Josh Naylor. Randall Grichuk, Shelby Miller, right? Like they unloaded their roster. Despite all that, since the deadline, 19-12, and they've won 4 of their last 5 series. Guardians, Reds, they split with the Brewers. They beat the Dodgers in a series. They beat the Rangers in a series, a team vying for a postseason spot. So this is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, certain things make clubhouses gel, and it's typically not selling the farm. But these guys have banded together and say, okay, you don't believe in us. Okay, you're getting rid of everybody. We've got these injuries that have plagued the clubhouse. But you know what? We're big league ball players, and we can go out there and still continue to win. And you didn't mention Jordan Montgomery, who's another guy that they had that
Yeah,
Tommy John, and then dealt him another
right.
disappointing season for him. He was a guy. He was on the Red Sox roster or purview for a long time as far as signing him. That would have
A
been
lot of
brutal.
fans upset with Craig Breslow, by the way, for not signing Jordan Montgomery, right? Remember
Dodge
that?
that
Everybody
one.
wanted
My
Jordan
goodness.
Montgomery, didn't get Jordan Montgomery, and then he goes out and he has the year that he had in Arizona, right? I didn't have a
Yeah.
lot of people saying, hey, you know what? Good job. Good decision. I didn't hear that.
Give credit. Give
Such is
credit
the
where
life of a
credit's
general
due.
manager, right?
Yeah, but this club, they can swing it. I think that's the biggest thing. They can go out there and they swing the bat. Offensively, their numbers are top tier. They can go out there and get it done. So pitchers, you got to be careful. If you're throwing the ball in the zone, there's going to be some hard contact there. That's what they do. And they can string together some pitching, right? Their
Yeah,
bullpen, yeah. If you go out and let them beat you, they will. We saw that. The Pirates played well against the Boston Red Sox. Any big league club can go out and beat you if you don't play clean baseball. It all starts with pitching. If you
sure.
keep the offense at bay, they should be okay.
I mean, since the deadline, they're 5th in runs scored, 8th in ERA. I mean, the pitching's been pretty good. I mean, you look at some of the numbers of their guys, not great. But like to your point, they got some guys offensively, like Corbin Carroll, Marte, that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. But game 1 of the series, old friend Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound, ERA over 5, and it's like, to be honest with you, I'm sure a lot of Red Sox fans are probably like, oh right, Erod's in Arizona, because you think of him in Detroit. Ended up in Arizona, had the injury situation last year, and now pitching for the Diamondbacks. It's got to be good to see Erod, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, and they've got a plan. They've seen Erod for quite some time. They know what he's going to bring to the table, and his stuff today isn't as good as it was 5 or 6 years ago. Let's be honest. So you're going to
No,
see Romy, you're going to see Ref, you're going to see those lefty killers in there. Hopefully, they string together some good at bats and take pitches. Right, I feel like getting good pitch to hit versus Erod is key. Don't chase outside the strike zone. He's at his best when he's dominating low and high. Using the both up and top of the zone depending on which pitches. So yeah, I mean, Erod's not having a great year. He's kind of Jekyll and Hyde. He'll put together a good outing, then he'll give it up. Uh, so yeah, I mean, the Red Sox, the familiarity is going to come into play, and hopefully they get runs on the board early, because when they do that, they typically win ball games. I think they're 52 or 53 and something when it comes to scoring first. I don't know, have it off the top of my head, but when they score
no, I
first,
don't
it's
either.
lopsided.
Yeah,
It's lopsided.
yeah. And then the Athletics in Sacramento, Lenny. I know as a former A, that breaks your heart, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for those fans. I had a good time in Oakland. I love pitching the Coliseum, believe it or not. People that talk about the Coliseum, they say it's a dump or whatever. But as a pitcher, I love that foul ground. It's an out or two a
Yeah.
game. You're trying to get 27 outs. It's at least an out or two a game, where it's a strike in most other ballparks. But and I played in Sacramento as well. They've got one
Yeah.
of my favorite people in baseball, Johnny Doskow, calling games there. Who's an outstanding individual. I still talk to him to this. We text each other all the time. So yeah, but the A's, they can go out and string together games. They swept the Dodgers. Am I correct? Did they go out and sweep the Dodgers recently? I think
No,
they
they won
did. They
2 or
went out
3.
2 or 3.
They
Okay,
swept?
so yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was 2 or 3. Oh, okay.
yeah, but they're playing good baseball. They can beat good teams if good teams go out there and let them. right? So that tells
Yeah.
you don't take them for granted. You got to go out there and play good baseball and fundamentally sound baseball. Catch it and throw it, pitch it effectively and outside the strike zone, and get some balls to hit and drive. And don't let them have mistakes in the zone without doing some damage.
So you got the series, Lenny, on radio in Arizona, and then you're flying home to work with me on Monday. So you're not going to Sacramento. You're coming back to Boston. So, man, you're going to be a weary traveler, man.
I'm flying in. I'm getting in, I think, 6 a.m. I'm driving home to Rhode Island to take the kids to school. And then I'm maybe getting a couple hours of sleep at home, and then I'm driving back to do the game on TV with you. So it's going to be not a ton of sleep, but yeah, we have to get the high test coffee.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of it's like planes, trains, and automobiles, man. That's a lot for you, but
I'm looking forward
you still
to
got
it.
a little left in the tank. You got a little left in the tank, but yeah, and it's good to be talking about. It's good to be talking about a push postseason too, right? That gets a little more pep in your step. So we'll see how things play out against the Diamondbacks. We got pregame coverage coming up on NESN at 8:30. Myself and Jim Rice will have you covered this series, and me and Lenny after that for the A's series. So it was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, good seeing you. Good seeing you. I'll see you soon. Few days.
All right, sounds good. 310 to left, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. For Lenny, I'm Adam. We'll see you.